Ladies and gentlemen, creepers and skelly bones, this is ChollayMurphay here with part 2 of our pre-PSVR Hardcore Survival Guide. We've got a lot of new players coming to Minecraft due to PSVR, and this is sort of a primer to get you ready if you've never played Minecraft before, or if you want to learn some new stuff possibly. If you haven't watched part 1 of our guide, please go and do that. If not, then we're going to pick up where we left off at the entrance to our village. Let's go and learn some stuff. Hello! Alright, here we are back in front of the village where we left off. As you can see everything behind me, we've got a nice large village. It seems to be pretty heavily populated. And we're going to go check out some... awesome. Yes! I was hoping that one of these would be here so I could show you guys. Anyway, what you're seeing just to my left is a golem right there, or a golem, however you want to pronounce it. But basically, in any large village like this, where you've got a large villager population, most of the time you're going to find a golem. And what this is basically he's a sentinel that patrols the village. If any mobs or basically any aggressive creatures come and try to bother any of the villagers, then this big guy here will fight them off. Now, later in the game, you will be able to create golems like this to patrol whatever establishment you decide to have. You can make them yourself, but they're very resource intensive, so it's something that's probably going to be done a little later in the game for you. But that's another reason you definitely want to be careful in a village and not hit any of the villagers, because if you hit a villager, he will also mark you as a target, and they do a lot of damage, and there's something that you probably want to stay away from. Now, this is one of the first things you want to look for when you go into a village. These are chests. They'll be pretty prevalent in the village, and they're going to have a random assortment of items. Like you see there, we had a feather. Now, these are emeralds. You'll find these occasionally in some of these chests, and emeralds are the currency that are used to trade with villagers. Sometimes you can give villagers items, and they in turn will give you emeralds, or you can give them emeralds, and they in turn will give you items. And there's a whole sort of barter economy that goes on with them, and it's pretty interesting, and it can help you out. Pretty much anything that the villagers have are things that you could make, but not always easily, and sometimes it's just easier to toss a villager a couple of emeralds and get something that you need in return, rather than having to go and source all of the materials and put it together and everything like that. Now, another cool thing here, you see, I'm taking the chest with me. Chests are another one of those items, kind of like your crafting table or your furnace, or other things like that, where you can break the block and take it with you and then place it again when you need to use it. Now, you see there, I just put those saplings down. Sometimes saplings are a throwaway item, but especially if you're in a place where you're planning on sticking around, like we're going to, maybe stick around this village. Well, we would be if we weren't doing a tutorial, but if we were going to stick around this village for a while, it's pretty much a good idea to just plant any saplings you get, because they'll grow into trees, and more trees are more resources. Now, we're going to click on this guy. He is a shepherd, and your villagers will have different professions, and you can usually tell their profession by looking at their outfit. But as you can see here, if we give him 18 brown wool, which can be taken from sheep, then he will give us emeralds. If you give him emeralds, then he will give us shears, and shears can be used to procure wool from sheep. Shears can also be used to trim leaves from trees, and you can place them like bushes, which is kind of cool when you're doing, cosmetic stuff for a house or a place you're building. It can also be used to harvest silk from spider webs. There's a few good uses for it. Now, as you can see here, when it started raining, all of our villagers ran away. For one, it's starting to get dark, and for two, they know that some aggressive mobs can come out in the rain. Now, we're going to displace this guy real quick. He acts pretty upset that we took his bed away from him. But fortunately enough, even if you take their bed from them, they'll act a little a little peeved, which who wouldn't, but it doesn't actually have any effect on gameplay. Like I said, pretty much as long as you don't strike any of the villagers, then you really don't have to worry about upsetting them or anything. Now, what we've got here is a basic farming setup. Now, we have a row of water going down through the middle. Here's a composting bin, but we've got some beets and some carrots here, and basically you have to have this row of water to keep the soil moist. If the soil's not moist, then your plants won't grow properly. But that's a basic setup. We'll get more into agriculture later, but that is an interesting thing. And villages usually have plenty of agriculture going on, and the good thing about that is it's a good way to procure a lot of food early in the game without having to go through the effort and the time taking the time to wait for it to grow. Now here in this chest we've got some food, some apples and some bread, and we've got another feather. Here we have a poppy. Poppy is a flower, of course, and there's a bunch of different kinds of flowers in this game. They're not really useful for a lot of things. Mainly, the only thing you're going to use crafting-wise a flower for is you can make dyes. Now, I'm just doing a little bit of inventory cleanup and stuff there, so I figured I'd spare you having to see that, and I went ahead and fast-forwarded through that. Now, I want to show you something cool about chests. Now, a typical chest has this much storage space. And so when you place it, you can put stuff in there. But if you put two chests side by side, they combine into a larger chest. And this, of course, will have double the capacity. Double chests are good for like when you're putting building materials such as wood and dirt and lots of stone blocks, things you're saving up to use for a big project, which can be good. And sometimes you'll want just a single chest with its storage capacity to put just specialized items, like you want all of your gold and your diamonds and all of your metals and stuff like that in a chest. So how you use your chests is up to you. But I really like the idea, the fact that you can put one down and have just that much space, or you can combine them together and create a bigger storage, chest for your things. So, hey, what's up? So we are going to go back out here. We're going to venture through the village some more and see what kind of cool stuff we can find. Over here, they got some horses in pens. That's pretty cool. All right, and as we walk forward, we'll see some hay bales over here. Hay bales are a decorative block that can be used to feed horses or just for looks, and if you fall onto them, they'll dampen fall damage, and I think they can be used to feed llamas as well. Now, as we walk over here, this is our jackpot. This is what you want to be looking for first when you go into a village. This is the blacksmith station. We'll go over here and check with him real quick and see what trades he has. It looks like if we give him some coal, he will give us some emeralds. And if we give him emeralds, then he will give us an iron axe. Another cool thing about trading with villagers is the more you trade with them, the more trades that you unlock. So there's actually a progression to it, which is pretty cool. Another thing we have here is a grindstone that can be used to repair and to disenchant items and weapons. Now, of course, you know what repair is, but in this game, there is the ability to enchant your items, your tools, and your weapons, and we'll get to that later, but this will allow you to take those enchantments off if you want to change them. Now, this is lava. He's got it here for looks, but lava is something that's in the game, and it's very dangerous. As you see there, I just threw a potato in, and it's immediately burnt up, and it is irreparably lost. Anything that falls into lava is destroyed, and you cannot get it back. So if you're mining underground and stuff, and you come across a pool of lava, you want to be very careful, because anytime you die, all of your items in your pockets and all of the items in your inventory are dropped. If they're dropped into lava, they are gone forever. So be very careful around lava. We'll check these furnaces real quick. Nope, no coal. So now we're going to go in here and look for... this is what we were looking for. The blacksmith's chest always has good items, at least usually, and the most useful and the rarest items are usually going to be in the blacksmith's chest, and this is a perfect example. Here we have some obsidian. We're going to take that. Obsidian is useful for a couple of purposes, but we'll we'll go ahead and save that for a later video. Here we've got an iron pickaxe, which is good because not only is it more sturdy and durable than a stone pickaxe, but also there's some minerals that you can only mine with an iron pickaxe. Also, here we have diamond horse armor. That's another good find because it is extremely rare because you cannot craft you cannot craft diamond or any other type of horse armor in this game. It has to be found in a chest, either in a dungeon or in a place like this. Here we've also got some iron ingots. Those can be used to make iron tools with. We'll definitely take that. And as well as that, we also have, it looks like an iron chest plate here, some iron armor. So we've got our first piece of armor. So let's go ahead and take this chest with us because it's always good to have. Chests are important because they keep items from despawning. Anything that falls on the ground will despawn after 5 minutes. So you always want to put your things in a chest, and plus it opens up your inventory. Now, to place armor on, you can either pick it up and take it up to your armor slot beside your character and drop it, or if you hit triangle on your controller, it will automatically shoot it into the slot that it belongs. And now we'll back out, so I'll back out here so you can look at it. Not only cosmetically is armor cool, because now I look like I've got some armor on. I kind of fit in with the surroundings. But also, if we look here, it adds your armor bar above our health. Now, every tick of that is going to take away 8% of our damage. If you look there, I just noticed that we're hungry. We definitely want to take care of that because we don't want to starve to death, and if we get hurt, we definitely want to be able to regenerate health. To eat, you place your food in your hand by selecting it with the shoulder buttons, and then you pull the left trigger and hold it until the food is consumed. Now, you don't have to worry about overeating because once you've eaten as much as you can, once your hunger bar is full, you won't be able to eat anymore anyway until it goes down. So there we go. We've got our hunger bar filled back up. Now we've got our armor. We've gotten some cool stuff. We're going to continue to walk around and check out the rest of the village. I think I'm going to speed this process up, and then I'll stop when we find something interesting or something worth talking about, something of note. Now, I do want to stop here for 1 second. Here's an item we haven't looked at yet. This is a book. Books can be crafted using leather and paper. They can also be used to make enchanting books, which can be applied to items and tools. Also, another thing is you can create a book with a quill pen, and you can actually write in it. It's mostly just for journaling, RP type stuff, but it is pretty interesting. It's something we'll look at later. Now, this is the compost bin that we looked at before. Basically, when you have a compost bin, you can take unwanted food or things like that. Really, the best use for this is zombie flesh. When you kill zombies, you'll get zombie flesh that they drop, and if you eat it, it will make you sick, so you definitely don't want to eat it. The only thing you can do with zombie flesh really is either feed it to your dogs, which we'll get to that later on. You can either feed it to dogs, or you can place it in a composting bin. Once you place so much stuff in your composting bin, which let me get another item here, and we'll finish filling up the composting bin. Once you fill up the composting bin completely, it will drop this. This is bone meal. Bone meal was at one point used, you could use it to make, use it like a white dye, but really the true purpose of bone meal is a fertilizer. So, I mean, it's in a composting bin, it makes sense. Holding bone meal and left-clicking on an item will help speed up the growth process. Sometimes it will make it instantaneous. Like sometimes you'll click on like a tree sapling like that, and it'll boom, be a full-grown tree. Sometimes it takes a few bone meals, but you only get one for composting. It's kind of a mess. It's kind of a wasteful process, and that's why you want to use something, a throwaway item, kind of like you want to use a throwaway item, kind of like our zombie flesh there, on that, because you don't want to waste anything else on it. Now, this here is a cartography table. You can see we're in the cartographer's office. What this is for creating and expanding maps. You've got 2 inputs and 1 output. You can place in a map and a piece of paper to make your map bigger. You can combine maps, and other things like that. So it's actually pretty cool and useful. It's something that we'll look into at probably at a later date. But you can trade with the cartographer, and he'll make maps for you. Also, you can go and you can usually find some cool stuff in his chest. Now, one thing that we do see here, this is one of the unknown maps. It's most likely a map of this village, or it could be a map from some place that we've never even seen. But we're going to put that back. But one thing I do want to show you here is we have a compass. The compasses are pretty cool in the game. Basically, the red needle you see there will always point towards your original spawn location in the world. Not necessarily where you're sleeping, but the place where you spawned. It will always put you there. So basically, we could use that to get anywhere in the world back to our spawn point, which would bring us back close to this village, which would be very useful. You can't place it in your offhand, as you see there, but if you have it in your hotbar, which is your pockets, the bar down at the bottom of the screen where your health meter is, it'll actually the needle on the little representation will move, so you can look at it without having to hold it in your hand, which is pretty neat. And you can make compasses, and I'll show you how to do that later on. So we've got another cartographer over there. Speaking of agriculture, let's take a look at our farmer. Now, it looks like here we have, if you give him so many carrots, he'll give you emeralds. And that's another cool thing about villages starting off, is you can take all of that food out of that farm and feed it to him, and he will give you emeralds, which is a good way to get some emeralds starting out early in the game. And we'll look around some more. This is another thing I wanted to show you. This is a really cool little structure here in the village. It's a barn, and so we've got some pigs. So it's a little pigsty. They've got the trough over there. But what I want to show you is this. This is fencing. Now, fencing in the game looks pretty normal, but you notice I can't jump over it. Now, this block looks to be the same height, and I can jump over it, but I can't jump over the fence. The game does something interesting with the physics of fences. If I run and jump from here and jump onto the edge of the fence and stand there, if I back out here and look, you can see what it is. Fences are measured as 1.5 blocks high. So that is to keep enemies, mobs, and animals from being able to jump over them. So that's something interesting to know. Pig sticking his head through the door. And I'm going to continue to search around a little bit here. And, see, now this is a cauldron. A cauldron can be used to hold water, and you can use that water to fill up bottles to make potions and stuff. There is potion making in the game, and that's another thing we'll get into later. Oh, now this is a find. A saddle. Saddles are just like the armor for horses in that you cannot craft a saddle. You must find a saddle. So we're going to go find us a horse. And we're going to have a steed. I like this guy here, this gray spotted horse. So what we're going to do is we're going to have to tame this horse. Now, to tame a horse, you have to have your hand empty. You cannot have any item in your hand, or as you see, like when I tried to click on him before, he's just going to buck, and he's not going to let you on. So what we're going to do is I'm going to place this here, and I'm going to get rid of this block of gray wool so that we'll have an empty hand. My inventory is already slam full, so there we go. All right, we put that down, and now we'll click on the horse, and when we do, we're going to climb onto him, and he's going to move around, and we see the heart, so he's tamed. Now, when you don't have a saddle, you can get onto a horse and tame it, but as you can see here, well, I mean, you can't see here, but I'm moving the sticks like crazy, and I can turn around and look around, but I can't move the horse. I can't control his motion. To do that, you have to hit triangle to go into the horse's menu, your inventory, and you'll see there's 2 slots beside your horse's representation. One of them is for your saddle, which we just put on, and you see as soon as I do that, he straightens out, and now he has reins, and now I can actually move and jump. So you have to have a saddle to be able to control the motion of your horse. And then we put armor on, which is going to make it to where he's a little more durable, and he's going to look a lot cooler, as you can see there. And it looks like it's getting late outside, but like I said, horse armor and saddles are 2 of the rare coincidences, 2 of the rare circumstances in the game where you have an item that cannot be crafted by you. It is just something that you have to find. So we're going to sleep real quick, and we'll come back out to our horse. Oh, look at that. Now that's cool. Alright, so we're going to hop on. We're going to jump over the fence here. And we're going to walk around for a few minutes and look and see if we can find anything else interesting. And I look like I'm really tall with like really short legs. But anyway, whoa, what was that? Uh-oh. Okay. Alright, what we are seeing here, folks, and get used to learn that sound. Basically what that is we have encountered an Enderman. Endermans are rare mobs. Well, not super rare, but sort of rare mobs in the game. Oh, there he is. They're tall, thin, black, mysterious creatures that can teleport, and for some reason they have a penchant for coming and stealing blocks, usually grass blocks for some reason. But as you can see, they'll walk around. Now, the thing about an Enderman, notice I'm not looking towards him. I'm just sort of staring at the back of my horse's head. That's because Endermen are typically docile mobs. They're not hostile. But if you look an Enderman in the eyes, they become hostile. And it's pretty terrifying. And they can teleport around, which makes them very hard to fight, and they do a lot of damage. So we're just going to let him do his thing, and we're just not going to pay him any attention. And when I say look him in the eyes, I mean lining up your cursor, lining up your crosshair with him at eye level will incite him. But now we are going to venture forth off to the snowy mountains that we saw earlier. We've pretty much seen everything there is to see in this village. If we come across any more, I'll see if there's any more examples of things that we need to learn. But folks, I think this is where we're going to leave off. We've learned a pretty good bit about villages, which is why there's something you definitely want to look forward to and look for in the early game that can get you off to a great start. We've got a full inventory. We've got a horse. We've got armor. We've got horse armor. We've got iron pickaxe. We've got all kinds of goodies to get us started on our journey, and we'll see you next time as we head off to the snow-capped mountains, and I'll go deeper into detail about how to mine. Thanks for watching this video, and if you haven't yet, please consider subscribing to my channel. It would help a lot, and I thank you all very much.